Hello and welcome to OWXL Season 3, Week 6 on Nepal. This is the second of the doubleheader on Sunday night here. I am joined by pt.1. My name's Pepper, and we're ready to bring this game from the Challenger tier between Rein's Rejects and Danny Defeato to you. Zach, how you feeling, man? That last game, a lot of fun. Excited for this one?
Yeah, definitely. The last game was definitely a little bit shorter than I was expecting. Some questionable choices made, so it ended pretty quickly. However, for this game, I was looking for something, something long, something drawn out, maybe a little bit bloody. I want a good, contentious fight, like we've seen a lot here later on in the season, as the teams kind of try to find their place on the playoff ranking.
Yeah, well, definitely in the cards, as it's Rein's Rejects coming in 3-2. I wouldn't say comfortably in a playoff spot, but one of the three winning teams in the Challenger tier, sitting there in third place, looking to just stay up near the top and maintain one of those playoff spots. And Danny Defeato coming into the league, replacing a team that dropped earlier, so inheriting a kind of negative record, but going 1-3 and looking to get in the mix, maybe try and tie it up with Legacy, who's up there 2-3 right outside the playoff kind of section. But a lot to play for in the Challenger tier, definitely very hotly contested, and we could really see it shake up here at the end of Week 6, 7, and 8 going on into the playoffs. But looks like we do have everybody all set and ready to go. So yeah, we'll get this to you in just a second. Got to see Rein's Rejects a little bit on stream, and they're definitely a team that started out the season in kind of a difficult spot. They came together as just kind of like unpicked draft picks, kind of where they got the name from, and struggled early on in the season, but definitely came back and started getting some serious wins. So excited to see what they have for us here on Nepal. Control points definitely scrappier, and you should see a pretty solid game.
Yeah, you can really tell what what happens when a team spends the time together to kind of stack and work on their comms, and it's always good to see teams just formed from nothing come up and really start to mesh well together.
Definitely kind of remnant of Season 1. That's definitely kind of the spirit of how Season 1 started with that original draft, and a lot of people come together, and definitely how a few of those early teams formed. So just kind of harkening back to that Season 1, and nice to see this team really coming together and getting the wins they need in a good spot here to make the playoffs. But now on to Paul for Rein's Rejects here on the left-hand side. The blue team, it's Sarge, BKL. Thought about going tank, may switch off, may go back. It's Rick out on Winston. Also see Rick out play a little bit of support, so filling in as a tank here. Vintage Knife on McCree, more or less going Mercy. Father Squanch on Tracer, and Corbeck going Zenyatta.
On the opposite side, we do see Dark Donut 8 on the Tracer, Crazy Joe on that Diva. We see Jesus going Pharah, and J Gif on that Winston. Ermagerd Burr is going to be playing the Mercy, as well with Skull on the Lucio as the two supports. So yeah, should be a pretty good game.
Zach, I hate to correct you, I'm pretty sure that's J Gif. Not going
That's what I said, J Gif.
Right. Could be J Gif maybe? GIF?
I think you were right the first time, Ryan.
Whatever you said was wrong. Anyway, going now into the first section, a few members here taking that high ground. See if I can get, actually, sorry about that, we're locked onto a single player. Yeah, it looks like Rein's Rejects coming to the main entrance here, and it's the opposing team going up on the high ground. Danny Defeato trying to find a little bit of space, and nobody really dropping just yet, but now as I said, that Dark Donut able to get in the backline, take down Corbeck. Vantage Knight falls as well, and it's going to be Danny Defeato taking an early advantage as the control point opens. Meters starting to tick Rein's Rejects' way, but I think they actually are disadvantaged. Surprised if they actually do take this, because I think they have fewer members. It's going to be their control point dropping back down, and I think Danny Defeato will regain supremacy.
Yeah, I think it was really smart to start up there on the high ground and then wait until, it's kind of like a little half push on the side of Rein's Rejects, and that just allowed them to push behind, get right in the middle of everyone with the Tracer and the Winston, and they did a good job of just kind of cleaning up there.
Yeah, now looking at Ultimate, started Darth Donut here on Tracer on stream, looking to get that pulse on pretty quickly. Dang Techno Jesus kind of offsetting the fight to begin with. Father Squanch getting caught in a tough spot, and now it's a 6v5. It'll be Rein's Rejects having to hold on a little bit and regroup. Maybe take a second before this next engagement. They definitely don't want to go down a little bit further. The Father Squanch now switching off the Tracer may not work out. Now going Soldier to deal with this Pharah. I think that's a positive change.
I agree. She's been a bit of an issue, especially with the Mercy pocketing her the way she has been. Now we do see Rein's Rejects start to push onto the point. Again, though, it's not the kind of push I want to see. They need more people on there, not just the tanks. They need some healers on there. They need to again push together as a team, and they look a little too spread out at the moment.
Yeah, looking for the Deadeye, able to grab a good triple, was Vintage Knife, and that may turn it back Rein's Rejects direction. Did fall there, and they were able to flip it back, but I think, yeah, able to put the res back in, and yeah, battered but not broken there. Rein's Rejects able to take control of the point as Danny Defeato eclipsed 50%. Look at also Dank Techno Jesus, who was not able to use that Rocket Barrage, getting pulled early in that last fight, can come back and engage with that, but we'll have to deal with the healing coming in from more or less Valkyrie. As I say that, gets solo ulted, it's going to be Techno Jesus able to get 2 quick kills, but caught in a tough spot, does drop. May not matter for them though, as I think those kills will be influential. Danny Defeato might be able to wrap this point right back up.
And it's a good res on Dank Techno Jesus. He has been doing a lot of damage, more or less uncontested so far, and yeah, keeping him alive I think is definitely a priority for Danny Defeato, and they've done a good job of that.
No doubt about it. Still ults coming out here for the other side. Corbett switching off to Zenyatta to maybe a little bit more mobile Lucio. But they've got 4 members up above 90% ready to come in and engage in with ultimates as Danny Defeato comes up on about 75% or so. Ultimates of their own, though, 3 on the other side. And it's going to be the first of which here, Crazy Joe using the self-destruct looking for a good position, but is not quite able to connect. Really just prevents Rein's Rejects from coming out of that room for just maybe an extra second. Good res here from Burr onto that Barrett, who's causing some serious issues for the blue team coming back into the fold. And as we go above 90%, Rein's Rejects really gonna have to make something happen here on the point if they want to try and contest this in overtime.
And we see the ult come out from the soldier on while the Squanch was playing. Most of it does get eaten though by Crazy Joe. However, he does quickly get taken out of mech. It looks like they did exactly what they needed to. Like you said, kind of came together as a team and pushed through quickly, made those assertive picks, and yeah, worked out well for them. Now they have the point back. All they have to do is hold on to it.
Yeah, and ult's pretty balanced here, more or less able to use the Valkyrie there to really make the difference for Rein's Rejects. But now his Vantage Knife goes down again with the Deadeye. A good res here to get him back into the fight. That ultimate will be definitely useful for them, along with the self-destruct from Rickout's Diva. On the other side, Dank Techno Jesus close to another Rocket Barrage that you used very deliberately to try and take out a support the last time around. Burr, however, will not be able to use the Valkyrie having dropped there. And Danny Defeato, largely uncontested, will flip that point back. Now in overtime, it's all to do for Rein's Rejects if they want to be able to kind of stake their claim on the point. A good double here. The self-destruct gets both supports. Darth Donut grabs another. It looks like this round may go Danny Defeato's way.
Yeah, 2 from the self-destruct, 2 from the Winston ult, the Primal Rage. Yeah, that definitely sealed their fates there. However, it was a good contention. Rein's Rejects was able to get the point above 50%, so, you know, they didn't exactly get completely blown out of the water. And I think, you know, this game isn't over yet.
Well, and you're exactly right. What we've seen a lot on these control points just throughout this week, the team that drops down first, not necessarily out of it. Sometimes it takes a while to settle nerves in that early game. And we saw in the game last night where you know, the team that went down early was able to come back and win the last 2 rounds. So definitely not out of it yet. I think we saw a lot of positives there from Rein's Rejects, but have to be smart about how they switch this up. Make a few changes here. Sarge now goes to Orisa, trying to really kind of settle into the point, comboing with Rickout, now switching to Roadhog, and that may be the change of shape they need to cap the second point.
All that being said, I've really enjoyed watching Defeato so far. They've done a good job sticking together as a team, moving together as a team, and it definitely paid off for them so far in this game.
Smart Maywall coming in from Jip on the map, able to zone out Orisa on the other side, Sarge VKL, and eliminating that tank early on. And yeah, that May's been really pesky. I think it will be Danny Defeato able to wrap this first point up again really quickly. And we saw some changes on the other side. Dank Techno Jesus switching off of the Pharah and going Zarya now to get a little bit more kind of strength in Crazy Joe on that Reinhardt. Darth Donut now on Junkrat. So again, with the control point on the high ground here, we're getting a lot of damage in on the attackers trying to get in on the low ground and making it very difficult for Rein's Rejects to get any traction on the point.
And I really like, you know, that the switches were made. It does kind of keep the other team on their toes. They're not entirely sure what to expect. They might have selected a comp specifically to deal with what they had to deal with the last round. And yeah, really smart for them. They switched it up. They did a really good job. Jiff on that May has done a good job of kind of keeping people behind their walls and allowing the rest of your team to pick them off. So so far, really good job from Defeato.
It's a coalescence coming in from more or less a sole positive here for Rein's Rejects that continues trying to take this point. Ultimates on every side that will grab boats and forces. The Graviton grabs a McCree as well, combining in the damage and maybe a little over exuberant from Danny Defeato, using quite a few ults there, but able to wrap up Rein's Rejects pretty cleanly. And yeah, if you're Rein's Rejects, it's got to be difficult to figure out exactly how to break down this defense. Trying to go Bandage Knife now on the Reaper, get some more damage in. I like that switch. We'll see if that's the answer to just kind of punishing attack from Danny Defeato.
We also see Rico switch onto the Diva and Father Squanch switch onto a Junkrat to, like you said, just put as much damage into the other team as possible and try to get them down. Because at the moment, the supports on the side of Defeato are doing a really good job of keeping their team alive. They're staying grouped up nicely the way they should be, and yeah, it's paying off well for them as they are almost up to 90%.
Well, you're definitely not wrong. Two names we haven't said a lot are the supports for Danny Defeato, doing a really good job positioning well, staying alive, and finding good opportunities to heal the team. Shadow here from Crazy Joe, looking for an opportunity to use it, will do so here, grabs one, I believe, quarterback on the Lucio, not quite able to get that Diva, but it may not matter for them. Danny Defeato in overtime here at 99-0, looking very strong, and still with members on the point, they should be able to wrap up the last remaining stragglers of Rein's Rejects. That is a Nepal 2-0 win for Danny Defeato.
Definitely a lot more one-sided here in the second round than it was in the first round. They you can tell the momentum can be a huge factor in these games, and they just ran with it. So now we need to see probably a different game type. I definitely wouldn't go 2 control in a row. So I'm looking forward to seeing how Rein's Rejects is able to combat this. Really kind of definitive and aggressive Defeato that we've seen so far.
Yeah, and the cards speak for themselves for the red team, Danny Defeato. With all the momentum, it'll be Rein's Rejects with the map pick as we go into Game 2 of the Best of 3 series. We'll get that pick from them and be right back. Alright, and we are back. Sultan Spades with you. A comprehensive defeat on Nepal. For Rein's Rejects, Danny Defeato able to get the better of them in 2 rounds. And now their map pick coming out. Rein's Rejects, like we said early on in the stream, they started out a little bit disjointed in the season, able to come together and started getting some really solid wins to earn that 3rd place spot. Now kind of at risk here of falling to the 1 and 4 Danny Defeato. So it'll be important for them to come back here. What do you predict they may go in this 2nd round, Ty?
Well, after kind of what we just saw, I definitely don't want to see them do any sort of control point, be that or a 2CP. A couple weeks ago, they went Dorado, and they did a really good job with that. The teamwork was really on point. They did a good job of their positioning. So I expect them to go probably something like that. Definitely an escort or a hybrid map, preferably an escort. I see them, possibly going Dorado again. And yeah, they've done a really good job on those maps, so it wouldn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, definitely a good pick. We'll get that map pick from them. I think a payload also good. I know we were talking the last game how a lot of teams, after going on a control point like Nepal, they'll go payload because it's completely the opposite. You got a moving target instead of kind of a fixed point around which you have to fight. So we'll see if that's the pick. We do have somebody, I believe, resetting on Rein's rejects to make sure they have a proper connection. So just while we're thinking about that, a couple announcements, guys. Remember that this weekend, Saturday, February 17th, I can talk, is the free-for-all tournament. Registration for that is closed, but if you are participating, make sure you're free on Saturday night because it should be a good tournament. We'll get that all wrapped up all in one evening, crown a champion that night, and I'll be casting there. It should be a lot of fun, so excited about that. Getting to run those tournaments periodically keeps it fresh, keeps it fun. So for more information about that, you can definitely check out our Discord channel. Link is on the website, OWXL.com, where you'll also find stats and scores, standings, things like that. Especially as we get down to the last bit of the season, check the standings page, playoff projections, and playoff implications in this game, as well as Rein's Rejects looking to maintain their control there at the top, but under threat as Defeato is trying to get the better of them. Actually, we do have the second map pick coming out. It will be King's Row. So that hybrid pick, it's Rein's Rejects defending first, I believe. So it'll be important for them to try and get that full ult, push for the win on King's Row, and come out victorious.
Yeah, I definitely want to see this game go on to 3. Those are always, of course, the most fun games to watch. And like I mentioned before, hybrid or payload both. I think Rein's, kind of has a plan in mind, and if they can execute that, this should be a good game between both of these teams.
I'm definitely optimistic. Subs in the wings for Rein's Rejects. We'll see if they decide to make any changes to kind of counteract the difficulty they had with Defeato. Again, we kind of talked about the support Skull and Ermagerd for Defeato, really the difference makers, able to keep those DPSers and tanks alive. And yeah, obviously as a support, the biggest thing you can do is not die, because if you are not dead, you are always healing. It will be a change actually. Korvik swapping out for Death by Ray. A healer in Korvik coming out for a DPSer / healer, kind of a flex player in Death by Ray. So we'll see if he fills in that familiar Zenyatta or comes in as a Reaper. Definitely options there for them, but I like the flexibility. We'll see if that helps them come back.
And Rein's Rejects has a couple of healer mains on their team, so it wouldn't surprise me too much to see him come in as a Reaper, just because the tanks were rather dominant from Defeato last time. So having that extra damage, I think, will probably help them quite a bit. That being said, though, we've seen Death by Ray on the stream before as a Zenyatta, incredibly accurate, and you can tell that, especially with his discords, there's a lot of communication going on there, and if they can make the most of that, that'll also be a good pick for Rein's Rejects.
Let's see if that does it. I think we do have the readies from both sides. And so I think this should do it. Without further ado, we'll go to King's Row. But yeah, wrapping up week 6, we'll have the upcoming games for week 7 for you at the end of this stream. But yeah, really everything to play for coming into the playoff picture. Yeah, just really wrapping up the season. It feels like it's flown by so quickly.
Man, I agree. This I can't believe it's already into week 6, almost week 7. It's like you said, just kind of flown by. I guess what they say, time flies when you're having fun.
Indeed. And yeah, always a good time. OWXL, man. King's Row definitely a popular pick, one we see frequently. Actually, I think in all the games today we've seen just a handful of maps. It's like something like 4 maps. In the champion tier game earlier at I believe that was 5 p.m. Eastern between Team 2K and Imperial. They played, I believe it was Nepal, then King's Row, then Oasis, and then in the previous champion tier game between Eternity Esports and Big Throws, they played Nepal and then Oasis, and now we're playing Nepal and King's Row. So
what is their third map gonna be?
Should there be one? We'll see if they do decide to go control point. But first, this game, again, Defeato up 1-0 in the best of 3 series, looking to kind of get back into the mix of playoffs with the challenger tier. The margin's just so tight, and Rein's Rejects looking to come back here, force his third game, and kind of create some separation between them and the teams with losing records, 4th place and below. As the comp starts to shape up, though, for the defenders, Sarge Mikhail on Roadhog. Death by Ray is filling out Zenyatta. His Vantage Knife now going Reaper instead. Father Squanch on Soldier. Moira less on Mercy. And Rick out 95 on Orisa. For the attackers, Danny Defeato, Darth Donut on Diva, Crazy Joe going Reinhardt. It's a 3rd tank on Dank Techno Jesus going Zarya. Jiff, the 4th tank on Roadhog, Burr, and Skull filling out Moira and Lucio respectively on those supports. See if this quad tank pans out for Danny DeVito.
Yeah, we've heard a lot of rumors about this, this comp, starting to become the new meta. You got the Lucio to speed boost, the Moira to heal everyone when they stick together, and then 4 tanks just coming in to push. And yeah, I'm excited to see, it actually tried out in one of these OWXL games. Seems like it's kind of working out well-ish for them so far. Kills going back and forth. Looks like Rein's Rejects might have a little bit of the upper hand here as we see the Diva kind of try to get away. Darth Donut, he's not quite able to and does end up going down. So they're going to have to wait another second for him to come back so they can kind of regroup and push forward.
Yeah, a bit of an understatement there. Not really working out for them. I don't know if they expected Vantage Knife on that Reaper, but he definitely expected the quad tank. And they're already switching off the comp. Darth Donut now switching to Junkrat and Dank Techno Jesus back on the Pharah that he played so well on Nepal. That Reaper able to earn up to 70% all charge just from taking out those tanks and shut down that attack pretty quickly. But good flexibility to recognize that wasn't going to work for them and going another direction. We'll see if that kind of response pace for them. Now Sarge going down means it's 8-5-6, but Crazy Joe on the other side, 2 tanks down means it's a 5v5. But the attackers with the shorter respawn and the Mercy on Ermagerd able to get that res back in means that we should see Danny DeVito continuing this push onto the point.
Yeah, with Moira less down, it's going to be pretty significant. Out comes the Reaper ult, not really able to do anything with it though. Riku and Death by Ray both go down. Vintage Knife does get Crazy Joe, but I'm starting to feel like it's almost a matter of time. Sarge is able to get a pick quickly though. All he has to do is get back on the point and try to contest.